what's going on? This is Barry from the band Shinedown, and you are watching, listening to whatever you want to call it, United Rock Nations. The state of radio has changed. Second Chance, when it came out, was played on pop and top 40 radio stations across the world, and so it hit a broader audience. Rock stations only hit so much, top 40 hits a lot more people, so Second Chance really just had a wider spread, and radio these days is just different. It's a different time, and even though I think this album has, me personally, better songs, or maybe better songs than Second Chance, they're not going to get played as wide. Alternative radio is very different. Top 40 radio is basically hip-hop radio for the most part, and we're not a hip-hop group, so it's just very different. It's a sign of the times, but we're the type of band that still sells out 20,000 people in the States and tours all over the world, so rock and roll's not dead, it's just different now. It's just different, and it'll come back around. It's an open floor, it's a democracy. Anybody can bring anything in. Brent's the main lyricist because he's just good at it. He writes 98% of it lyrically, and then anybody has an idea, you can bring it in. For this album, for Threat to Survival, there's probably 30 plus songs written. And then you pick the best ones out of that. They're not all good songs, they're just songs. And I think it shows the strength of the band that we're willing to take chances. The songs are different. We don't want to make Leave a Whisper Part 2 or Sound of Madness Part 2. Each album is its own thing because we're writing about things that we lived through in between those times. These are all true stories, and this album's actually really dark, but I think sometimes you have to write those songs to get rid of that emotion, because we all know what it's about, you know. And if you listen to the lyrics and you really study the lyrics on these records, it came from a very dark place, but because we had such a good time recording it, the songs have a positive feel to them, even though they're dark songs. We are a rock and roll band. Rock and roll stems from R&B and blues and funk. You know, it's an American style of music that has taken over the world and gone everywhere, and everybody has a feeling for it. We've been called post-grunge alternative, southern rock, that's all rock and roll. So I don't think there's really a difference. We're not a metal band. You know, we're not playing speed licks and crazy solos and screaming necessarily. Not that all metal bands scream, some sing. But we're just a rock and roll band. That's what we are. I think you have rock and roll and you have metal. Everything else is just a name. We wanted to have fun. You know, before that, the one time we really had a blast making a video was the Enemies video where we beat each other up. We had fun, and it gets boring as a band to go, okay, we're gonna make a video, everybody get their instruments and fake it behind their instruments for 15 hours. So we thought we'd do something funny and make fun of ourselves and make fun of the industry. It's all very tongue-in-cheek, and we're making fun of ourselves and what we go through on a daily basis, and how we're perceived. And even in the intro, and I like them better when they're fat, lazy drug addicts, people have said that to us before. Or I just wish you'd write Leave a Whisper again because you'll never be as good as your first record. All these things, we're like, man, we're just, if you don't like us anymore, you don't have to watch us. You don't have to tell me. So yeah, we're making fun of ourselves.
With the kids.
Yeah, they were sweethearts, sweet little kids.
And the drummer was the
yeah. That poor little kid, he actually hurt himself shooting the video. We were trying to get him to hit hard, and he cracked his knuckle right across the snare drum, and oh, poor thing, I thought he broke his hand, but he's okay. He took it like a champ. Well, it's retrospective. It's looking at what did you leave behind. You know, when the inevitable comes and you pass away, how did you love? Did you leave a legacy? Did you leave kindness behind, or were you a complete ass? And so it's very retrospective and introspective. You know, if you think about that on a daily basis, what are people going to remember me by? Was I good to my family? Was I a good husband? Was I a good friend to my friends? That's what that song's about. State of my head is that point in your head where you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole and go to a really dark place, whether it's depression or drug abuse or alcoholism, or if I'm going to be able to fight through it. It's that constant state of your head where you're just like, I don't know. And it's also where you're at frustration-wise with maybe your career. We get frustrated as a rock and roll band, and when we don't, we're always trying to grow, and if we're not getting the attention we need from certain entities, and because it's a business, we're in the music business, it can get very frustrating. And at what state does that put you in, and where does that put you mentally? That's funny. That one gets a lot of attention, and I don't know why we haven't released it yet, because we weren't sure about that song, or at least I wasn't. But it grew on me. When I first, listened to the demo, I was like, I'm not sure, because I wasn't sure it was going to fit with the rest of the songs, because it is a little bit more classic Shinedown, I guess. It's a little more like it could have come off Amaryllis, but it fit, and it's just taking it into Oblivion. It's another one of those very reflective songs for the record, and that's one of those ones I kind of like to let people get their own feeling on it. Because like I said, the record's dark, so maybe it's not as happy, but it makes you feel driven. So I kind of leave that one up to the listener. First one that I got a hold of, there was always music in my house. My dad had his music, and my brother, who's 6 years older, had his music. But the first one that I was introduced to that I went, yeah, this is my band, was Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast on vinyl. That was the first one that I fell in love with. I'm a huge Maiden fan. I actually finally, for the first time, get to see them tomorrow. I've never seen Maiden live because they don't come to the States that often, and when they do, it just wasn't near me. So I'm really excited to see that tomorrow. But Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast was the first one. Because I remember it was the album cover that got me at first, that crazy album cover, and I was like, what is this? And then I listened to it and I just fell in love with it.